You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a successful motivational speaker and trusted life coach, Nancy knows how you can live the life you want regardless of the challenges you face. Although she's legally blind, Nancy's mission is to inspire others to overcome obstacles and live life full out. Call in at 800-333-0001 to ask Nancy for advice on topics such as relationships, finances, business, health, and more. Just call 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. My name is Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're going to be talking about depression. Now, depression can come at many different forms. Sometimes it's a mental thing, a mental illness, and people can't help it. They have depression, and if that is where you are, we want to make sure that you get the right support. Okay, so there's one level depression there. Other times in our life, we may have experiences come up in our life. Someone passes away, we lose a job, we're in financial stress. That can cause us to also feel depressed. And then other times, it'll just be one-offs in our day, something that will happen that will just set you off. Perhaps it's lack of sleep, or sometimes drinking too much caffeine, too much sugar, and just feeling overwhelmed and feeling tired, and that can make you feel depressed. But we have to acknowledge all these different ways in which we can feel depressed in order to get over that hump and seek the help, the resources that we need so that we can feel better, so we can feel lighter, so we can tap into motivation. We're going to be focusing on that throughout today's show. We also have coming up in our next couple of segments a very inspirational guest, Camille Preston. She's going to be talking to us about her journey with infertility. And anybody listening today who's tried to have a child or is currently trying, it's amazing. You hear about these people that get pregnant just by looking at the other person that they're with, but it is not that easy, especially as people are nowadays getting their careers on track early in their life, waiting to have kids later. It's becoming just that much harder when you're in your late 30s, 40s, and beyond. So stay tuned for her interview there. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call at 310-909-7800. We're here to support you at Living Full Out. And if you would like to give us comments on today's show, or if you feel you would be an inspirational guest, contact us at connect@livingfullout.com. Again, connect@livingfullout.com. And if you want to hear any of today's show or any past shows, go to livingfullout.com, click on the radio show tab. Everything is there waiting for you. So again, we're taking your callers. The number is 800-333-0001. In fact, we're going to go to the phone lines now and say hello to one of our callers. Thank you. Welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi, Nancy. My name is Eleanor Flores. How are you?
Hi, Eleanor. I am good, lovely. You sound so sweet. How can we help you today?
Oh, thanks. I love your accent.
Oh, thank you. I didn't know I had one. Thank you. But
and
yes.
I love the show Living Full Out because that's me. I want to live. I'm 58 years old. I found out from my doctor that I need to lose 50 pounds, and I have high cholesterol, so I got on this amazing 30-day cleansing by Arbonne. Nothing ever worked. So I tried it. Girl, I've lost 6.4 pounds in 4 days.
Woohoo! Can everybody give her a woohoo?
Yeah. So
awesome.
I want to know from you, because I truly believe in empowerment from learning from the wisdom of others, and I heard you are so inspirational. Mm-hmm. So how can I continue after the 30 days to meet my goal of losing 50 pounds? I don't want to do gastric. I'm borderline diabetic. But all that,
Well, let me ask you this question. So going down the line here in time, when you do lose that 50 pounds, how will you feel? How will you look?
Oh, my God. Like I've lost maybe 30 years.
Okay. Now, do you think that's going to make you look more attractive physically?
Oh, heck yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
do you think
I've always been an athlete, and now I can't even move.
See, okay. So you're going to look more young. You're going to maybe be more athletic, more physically able to do things. I see a shopping visit in your future. Another woohoo, right?
Yes.
Now, how do you think how do you think others will see you?
Oh, they'll probably see me more healthy because, I see it in their faces now. Like, every now and then, especially when I haven't seen someone in a while, and, because 50 pounds, it's a lot. But
that is
I
a
have
lot.
a thyroid problem, So I got that hypothyroid, but I don't want it up the Synthroid. I don't want to be on meds. So I'm trying it this way.
Right.
And
so
just trying to do it the right way.
So here's what you do. You want to keep near and dear to your heart at all times what it's going to feel like to have lost 50 pounds, how excited you're going to feel, how much lighter you're going to feel, how much more energy you're going to have, because that feeling is what's going to have to keep you going past the 30 days. Also, if you're if you're stimulated visually, then I would do two things. I would grab a picture of you at your heaviest. And I would also grab a picture of you at a time when you were the weight that you're shooting for. Now, obviously we age, right? The hair changes, the wrinkles happen, things happen. But find a picture when you were the weight that you are shooting for, and I want you to keep them side by side, and I want you to keep them in your wallet or put them in your car, put them where you're going to see them all the time. And when you think you're going to make a decision that doesn't serve your goals, you need to look at those pictures. And those beautiful women in those pictures, even though they're you, I want you to talk to them, and I want you to tell the one who's overweight, I am so sorry that I have to leave you. You were great. You served me well during those years, but you know what? I've loved you, but I have to let you go. I'm going to think of you always. And then you got to tell the other one, I'm coming back. I'm sorry I left you. Do you see? And see, when you start to make those people real, then that's how you won't let yourself fall.
I see. That's a great idea. I'm going to do it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And I believe in you. You're going to do great. So go out there and run around the block. Do something fun.
Thank you. And when I hit the 50, I'm going to call you back.
Oh, man, girl, we're going to go shopping when you hit the 50. I'm excited.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a great day. Thank you.
You too.
Bye-bye. What a great question. I mean, she honestly makes me want to do more today. And this is why I love this show, right? From a caller to a guest, all of us sharing together, it motivates us to want to be better and do better. We're going to go back to the phone lines now. Welcome to the Living Full Out Show. Hi, welcome.
Hi, my name's Jessica. How are you doing?
I'm good, Jessica. What's going on today? How can I help you?
All right, so I just wanted to see, how I can make time for myself, because lately I've been really struggling with that, because I struggle just to find enough hours in one day to complete all my daily tasks, so I don't have time to, get my hair done or watch a movie or relax by the pool. And so sometimes when I finally get home and I, try to find some time to unwind, I remember I have something else to do that's important on my to-do list. And so by the time I'm going to stop
now I'm only going to stop you, Jessica, because I have a feeling that I bet you'd be great in sales. You are a talker and you're full of energy. Right? And you are a giver. I bet you exert energy into everything that you do. But what happens is when you deplete all of your energy for everybody else and everything else, it leaves your tank empty. Okay? You got to put gas into your tank every once in a while. That doesn't have to be a lot. That could just be taking a minute and listening to some music that you really like. Sometimes when I've had a long day, I'll pop on a Carrie Underwood or a Kelly Clarkson song and my energy goes up. It might mean from time to time, let yourself have a special treat. Let yourself have that dessert that you've been putting off. You have to learn how to put yourself first. It is hugely important. And I know that there's limited time in the day. I completely get that. But you have to look at grabbing those moments when you can, okay? So for example, if you're rushing to get to work 10 minutes early. And I want you to take that 10 minutes and I want that to be about you. I want you to play some music in your car or do something for you so you're not running and frazzled, okay? Because you want to make sure that you run in with grace, that you are the same outgoing person that I'm talking to right now, but you're not the depleted version of you.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree.
Okay? And so what you need to do is you need to borrow or borrow some time or put budget time in, but it's not a lot. It's just showing up 5 minutes early so you're not rushed at places. Okay?
Mm-hmm. That sounds good. So I guess I'll make like a little funky playlist or something so I can playlist.
It's Jessica's party car, right? I mean, you just come up with something and you have fun with it, but have fun with it. Life is too short to be kind of loaded down, okay? But I believe in you, and thank you for calling in.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for your advice.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you. And everybody will be coming right back with Camille Preston, our inspirational guest. This is the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari, and we'll be back.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I'd like kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure.
Tomorrow?
Let's check with Mom. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm going to return the kayak. Just make sure you have everything.
Yep. Can we walk home?
How about a taxi? 233 North Maple, please.
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Also, find fun activities to do like boating and biking or camping and hiking, plus much more. It's all right in your naturehood.
Best day ever.
A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Don't you wish that getting your child to eat right, move more, and spend less time in front of a screen could be as easy as pushing a button? It might not be that simple, but you do have more power than you know. And you can maximize that power with proven strategies, tips, and tools from the National Institutes of Health's We Can, or Ways to Enhance Children's Activity and Nutrition program. We Can offers all kinds of resources, including fun recipes and activities the family can do together to show you the way to live a healthier lifestyle. We're not saying it's easy. We are saying that it can be done. Take the first step today. Call 1-866-359-3226 for a free We Can Parents Handbook. And be sure to visit the We Can website at wecan.nhlbi.nih.gov for free information too. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit ignition.
And then
nothing. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite.
Look out! Look out!
And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. A professional motivational speaker, Nancy can help you overcome obstacles and start living full out. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back to the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about depression. Now, again, we go through different phases in our life where we're just happy and life is on target and it's great. And then other times, life throws us curveballs, and it's like, what do I need to do? How do I find hope in times when I'm feeling so sad, when I'm feeling like there's no options? And our next guest, Camille Preston, actually is a perfect example of living full out and how to get through those times when you just feel sad, stressed, and everything in between. So she's going to share with us about her journey with infertility. And there's a happy ending to it, but it was many, many years of struggle. So I'd like to welcome Camille to the show. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you very much for having me. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Of course, of course. And for everybody listening, everyone's at different stages with, whether they're choosing to start a family or not. But, Camille, we talked about this. It's not as easy as a snap. You can't just look at somebody and all of a sudden be pregnant. It's not easy. It's tough. And I'd like for you to take us back to when you started that journey, when you wanted to become a mom.
Sure. It's so interesting. You spend so much of your childhood, your youth and your 20s trying not to get pregnant. You're almost led to believe that if you spread your legs, you will become pregnant. And it's just actually really surprising how many women decide that it's time and then really hit a lot of adversity and a lot of challenges. And so we started trying right after we got married. And I did get married later. I was 39. I married my husband about 13 months after we met. So we moved fairly quickly and went right into trying, knowing that I was not a spring chicken, and just were surprised how many barriers we hit so quickly, so early on as we started down that path.
Well, and what were some of those barriers? And everyone's going to have different barriers, but what were yours initially?
Yeah. So, probably within a week of getting married, I think I went to see my gynecologist, and she looked at me straight up. She said, "Why did you wait so long? You're old." And I just was so taken back because up until then, no one had ever really broached the topic by me about fertility kind of going over a cliff when you're in your late 30s. And it was, besides lacking bedside manner, it was just this kind of shocking statement. And then she went so far, she looked at me, she said, "I can get you one, I can't guarantee you two." As if making babies was, ordering, "Do you want 2 burgers or 1 burger?" And it was interesting. I proceeded to change gynecologists fairly quickly. So
I would think so.
Moved us right into the infertility process. She really encouraged me to get my numbers tested, to do a series of tests to just see how was my fertility and what was happening, and what were the odds that I could get pregnant if I had wanted to.
And what were those odds? Were they high for you or not so good?
So it's interesting. I'm a very fit, very active, very driven person. And, my experience in life had basically up until then been, I decided I wanted something and I would go full out until I figured out how to achieve it. And I very quickly went straight from wanting a child almost immediately into an IVF process. I had good numbers in terms of HSG fertility numbers, but I had a twisted fallopian tube, which impacted kind of the way the egg would move into my, with the way eggs would be released and moved into the fertility process. And so we got married September 4th, and I remember we started our first IVF cycle that Christmas Day of 2010. And so it happened really, really quickly. And we were quite open at the beginning about this process because, A, I'm a very transparent person, but B, we looked around us and we knew that a lot of people were going through the very same problems that we were going through, and yet no one was talking about it. And then there was so much isolation associated with the process that appeared to be something that was very common for many women.
And I'm just curious, because not everybody may not know what the process is. What is the quote process? What's involved in such treatments?
So I was actually very, very lucky in the sense that we lived in the Boston area, so we're Massachusetts residents. And in Boston, most insurance companies for heterosexual married couples will actually cover a certain number of infertility rounds. So for us, there was amount of paperwork to get through and so forth. But the very first thing that most couples who are faced with infertility typically have to think about is how are they going to finance their dreams? They've always wanted to be parents, and all of a sudden you're looking at a fairly significant price tag to begin fertility treatments. And most people start with Clomid, which increases the number of eggs that ripen when you ovulate. So increasing ovulation, so that increasing conception. Many people then move on to what's called IUI, which is, again, another stimulation of you through specific hormones. And then a doctor will, at a certain point in time, take sperm and place it in ideal time and ideal location for you to have conception. The third kind of process that people end up going through is what's called IVF, or in vitro fertilization, which is a fairly complex process. You have to have a certain number of tests at a certain point in your cycle to assess kind of viability. They then start a very specific calculation after you have your period. You then start a series of different drugs stimulating various aspects of your fertility cycle. And that actually seems simple, but it actually gets quite complicated quite quickly because it means taking a series of injections. And it's changed a little since when I did it, but I remember there was nights that sometimes I was doing 7 or 8 different injections into my own stomach, my own legs, to stimulate the right hormones at the right time. And then the next morning, you'd often have to go several mornings in a row to have blood drawn. So they were monitoring hormones in your blood, but then you would also have an ultrasound to look at the follicle growth and to see how many follicles. I'm sorry. I was going to say, it definitely sounds like a huge time commitment, but there's more to it. I know there's more to this process, and we have to take a commercial break, but I'm so glad you're giving us these details. Stay with us, Camille. Everybody, this is Camille Preston. This is the Living Full Out Show. We're going to be coming right back to our interview, so stay tuned. We'll be right back. Perfect.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. With millions of YouTube views, shares, Instagram likes, followers, and fans across the globe. But what do all these amazing pets have in common? Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a shelter or adoptable pets near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard? Well, that's entirely up to you. Visit theshelterpetproject.org and hear more about Hamilton the Pug, Toast, and Keyboard Cat's amazing adoption stories. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Your perfect pet is just a click away at theshelterpetproject.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a trusted life coach, Nancy will help you overcome setbacks and embrace all life has to offer. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Thank you again for joining us. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about depression, but more so than just depression and feeling depressed is how do you get out of that place? How do you get through a time that just seems so hopeless, that the journey is dark and you don't know if the results that you want are going to come true? You know, our guest today, Camille Preston, she actually took that journey. She went on it in her goals to become a mom and had to seek fertility treatments. And she was just telling us about the different stages of treatments. But I'd like to bring Camille back into the show.
Fantastic.
Hi. You know, you were telling us about the different stages, which I think is really, really important. But also, I'm just curious, how did you and your husband weather that storm? Because I would only imagine after I don't even know how many times you tried, that would become depressing. That would become so heartbreaking, and perhaps resentment or anger or blame. What was that experience for you?
Sure. So it is. You know, I was telling you the kind of mechanical aspect of pregnancy or trying to get pregnant. And what I think we didn't communicate was just the complexity of the hormones. And so I'm actually a PhD psychologist by training. And it's the closest I feel like I've been to being mentally ill myself, was going through infertility, where the hormones would just wreak havoc on your ability to even just think straight. I'll put that in context by saying I gained 8% of my body weight in 5 days. And so, I had two problems. I felt awful, I looked awful, and nothing fit. And so it was interesting. I remember just times where, my husband and I were in just very different places. An example would be during a cycle, I would know that I was not pregnant, and he would hold out hope. And I knew it wasn't happening. And so I would start grieving a cycle 3 or 4 days ahead of him, and then the news would come, and I would be kind of on the other side, and he would just be starting to grieve. And so it was a really intense emotional time, especially as being relatively new in our marriage, to just be so aggressively pursuing something and just being so unsuccessful so many times.
And how many times did you try? How many times did you actually try?
Gosh, we got our son on our 9th cycle.
On your 9th cycle. Wow.
That's a lot of drugs.
That takes a lot. Everybody listening, that is tenacious. That is commitment. That is the purpose of wanting to have a child, so much so that you'll go 9 treatments. And how long did 9 treatments take you? How long of a time span did that take?
I should be able to do the math. It was just shy of 2 years that we did
2 years.
That. We conceived our son in November 2012. And what was interesting of that was it was all consuming, because trying to figure out, cycles and travel and business commitments and the logistics, it was really it's an intense thing. And again, I wanted to say to folks, it was all consuming, and we didn't have the financial aspect that most couples suffering infertility are trying to figure out in terms of, do I buy a house or do I try to have a baby? So
the thing that is so amazing is, for you, it took 2 years of commitment, which to get your son. And then after you had your son, was it easier? Did things go more streamlined to get your daughter? And how soon did she come?
So we are very blessed. We have 2 beautiful children, a boy and a girl. Our son is 3 and a bit, and our daughter's 16 months. Technology changed drastically between our son and our daughter in terms of advancements and so forth. So we actually had much more success with our daughter based on understanding my body, understanding technology, making some different choices. We actually put some financial resources towards doing PGD, which is pre-genetic testing, to really better understand the best embryo. I will say there's something I think is really important for people to, part of my journey, and I did a TEDx talk on this, as you know, because I just felt like people were not talking about infertility, and it was such a common problem and such a painful, silent existence, was that we actually got pregnant with our son, and I had some complications when I was at 26 weeks. I was giving a keynote talk to GE in Chicago, and actually landed in the hospital there. And I didn't really get the memo, and I didn't slow down, and I actually ended up in the hospital at 30 weeks and 2 days with my son. I had a placenta abruption. And so I think it's important to share for people, because I had this story. It was hard for me to find my husband, and it was hard for me to get pregnant. And then here I was having this complicated pregnancy, and my son actually came at 34 weeks and spent 3.5 weeks in the NICU at a very wonderful hospital. But when you have infertility, you're also at a higher risk of having preterm labor and some complications on the backside. So it's I guess what I would say for women on the journey, for couples on the journey, it is the best thing that has ever happened to me. It has kicked my tail to the curb and back, because there's nothing that you can do. You can't do your way into being pregnant. You can just take focused, persistent, different actions. And it was really it was perhaps the most character-defining experience of my life, to be connected to my husband and to be able to survive that. It was intense.
I would imagine. I mean, just hearing you talk about it, it just sounds exhausting. And really, again, all I can say is the level of commitment to do that for 2 years. But what age were you when you finally had your son and your daughter?
So I was 42 when I had my son, and I was 44 when I had my daughter. Okay. So I was very, very lucky. I would say to people who are on the journey or who are contemplating, get yourself educated, understand, where you are in fertility. And it's one of those things that you really want to be on the front edge of the curve, because the sooner you can get support and treatment, the better. The second thing I would say is find a support group, because it is such a lonely, isolating experience. There's this just absolutely amazing woman who I knew her husband quite well, who lives in California, and I'll just call her Kate. And Kate was my right hand. She was just a thought partner the whole way. And we really developed this wonderful relationship. And I remember when I was pregnant with my son, I was so terrified to call her and tell her I was pregnant, because she had been on the journey probably 7 years or so. And we actually conceived boys that were due 3 days apart. Of course, mine came a little early. It was a little late. But finding that person who can be a support network is just so important to reduce the stress of this painful experience.
And what do you think people should look out for, or maybe these fertility treatments, who is it not right for?
That's an interesting question. I'm so not neutral, because I love my husband, but the kids light me up. So I am so grateful that I had the tenacity to stick with it. I also think however you have your babies, whether you are the biological mom or you have a tummy mummy, a surrogate who has your baby, or you adopt a child, I don't think it matters how you have a baby. As I look back on it, I would say if you feel deeply about raising a child, there are so many ways that you can pursue it. Yeah.
When you look back at the journey now, how not being a mom, that's not what I'm saying, but how have you changed as a person in terms of having done this journey? And I mean, it worked out for you, but I'm sure there are people it doesn't work out for still. But just having done the journey, how did that affect you?
It's funny. My godmother always used to say, you never know what happens behind closed doors. And I think the journey affected me by realizing that everybody is on their own journey, and we never know what weights other people are carrying or what other people are suffering through. And just a depth of compassion and humility, because I never could imagine that trying to conceive, which is such a joyous kind of opportunity, could be embedded with such pain and suffering. So just knowing that everybody has their own things that they're working on and struggling towards.
And for those that can't afford it, maybe it's out of reach for them, maybe even adopting is out of reach for them. And, because you dealt with that loss, you dealt with that longing. How can someone not stay depressed during that longing phase?
So I'm a big believer that where your attention goes, your energy flows. And I have actually met a number of people who have chosen to be parents but not have kids of their own. So I think there's a lot of ways you can build a community and invest in something and grow something. I have a couple, for example, who every year they adopt we live in Boston, so they adopt a child who is a first-year student, a first-generation student going to Harvard. So someone who is going to be exposed to a whole new set of experiences, but is really navigating a new community. And
so they take their nurturing skills and apply it every year to nurturing one person. I love that. I think that's beautiful. I just, what were you going to say? We're almost done with the segment.
Go ahead.
No, what were you going to say? One last thought.
I think when you give yourself fully to something, that what you give, you get back. And so if the fertility door has closed for you, I think it's really important to grieve that because it is a massive loss.
Right.
And I would say,
Camille, I'm sorry we're at the end of the segment, but I want to thank you so much because you've opened our eyes and our hearts today. And I want to thank you for being a guest on our show. Everybody, that was Camille Preston, and thank you so much. We will be coming right back after this. We'll be taking your calls. Again, that was Camille Preston. This is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be right back.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
The following message is about Medicaid and CHIP, free or low-cost health coverage for kids and teens. Enrollment is open year-round.
Hey, voice lady, give me the mic.
Okay.
Hey, DJ, let's switch up the music. That's better. So listen up, moms and dads out there. There are these programs called Medicaid and CHIP. They offer free or low-cost health coverage for kids. Things like doctor and dentist visits, prescriptions, and shots are covered. All the stuff that keeps kids like me healthy and in charge.
So, as you can tell, a covered kid is a confident kid. And it means confident parents, too. To learn more about affordable health coverage for your family, visit healthcare.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. That's 1-877-543-7669.
Yep, you could do something big for your family today because enrollment is open year-round.
This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And Sophia.
They're gonna jump out of trees. You can't stop them. They'll go down the slide head first. They'll make parachutes out of sheets. They'll balance on things that are impossible to balance on, like the back of a couch or a windowsill or a scooter seat. They'll run with sharp objects. They'll run into walls. They'll climb things that won't hold their weight. They'll put their fingers in places where they could get smashed. They'll drive their tricycles down steep hills. They'll bounce balls off their faces. They'll step on each other. They'll jump on each other. They'll invent whole new ways to put themselves in jeopardy. But one of the most dangerous things kids will do happens while they're sitting perfectly still. Kids who ride in a car without a booster seat are much more likely to suffer serious or fatal injury during a crash than kids in boosters. But amazingly, 80% of all kids who need them aren't in them. After a toddler seat and until they're 4'9", booster kids, and don't let them down.
Go to boosterseat.gov to learn more about the importance of boosters. A message from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Hey, Nick Cannon here. So we all know we've got a lot of talent in America. But unfortunately, there's something else we've got way too much of. Childhood hunger. 17 million kids struggle with it in this country. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gather surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
We're your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet. Enroll, we say, we want you to be okay. Enroll, we say,
people, for goodness sake.
Health insurance is now affordable and covers prescriptions, hospitalizations, and preventive care. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn more.
And take care, people.
Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
When you feel depressed and life feels as though there's no options or you're hopeless, I want you to make sure that you reach out to someone, because we have all been there. It's a part of life that there'll be highs and lows. But during the low time, that's an opportunity when you can reach your hand out, grab someone else's hand, pull them up from a place of depression to motivation. That's what Living Full Out is all about.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a certified life coach, Nancy can help you to overcome challenges and start living full out. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Well, thank you again for joining us. It's the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about depression. We've touched on it on a couple of different ways in terms of personal growth and feeling as if we're not quite where we want to be and feeling depressed about, the choices that we have to make. And then our last guest, Camille Preston, she is a perfect example of, going through those fertility treatments and what it meant to stay positive and how to get out of the times that she was depressed on that journey. Well, it's all about motivation today in terms of pulling you out of a state where you might feel as though you're just lost or heavy and you want to feel lighter, you want to feel happier. This is the time. And this is our reaching out to you. Now, I want you to call us at 310-909-7800 if you are feeling depressed, because beyond the show, we want to make sure that you have resources and that you do feel supported. Also, if you're feeling suicidal for any reason, definitely contact your local, your local police department, hospital, or make sure you have an 800 number. We can give you those as well so that, again, you are supported. We're going to go to the phone lines now and talk to one of our callers. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi, thank you.
Hi, wow, you're in a windstorm, but how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good, how can I help you?
I'm calling in regards to how do I stop worrying about hurting people or getting hurt and start to have fun with dating?
Well, I'll ask you a question. How do you feel you're hurting people?
By not really giving my all in the relationship and just going in just for myself and not really worrying about the person that I'm dating.
Okay. And at what point when you're dating them do you kind of, does that creep in that you feel bad? Is that after you break up with them, or is that during the time?
No, just during the time when feelings actually start getting involved.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that they're really liking me, and I'm liking them as well, but I'm kind of starting to distance myself to avoid those feelings.
And how have other people hurt you?
In the past, by pretty much just breaking off the relationship.
Mm-hmm. That feels rejecting, right? That's hurtful. Here's the thing. Dating, I love dating. I do. I think dating is one of those things where it's a little bit like shopping. Now, please don't be angry with me, people listening, but it is like shopping. When you are trying to find that person in life that you can run with, you got to find that right fit. And not everybody is going to be the right fit. So if somebody knew that if somebody knew that for whatever reason you and them were not the right match, you would want them to set you free, right? You would want them to. Or if they had like maybe the ability or the percentage they might cheat, or if they felt as though maybe they weren't good enough, they kind of had to deal on their own personal development, you would want them to set you free, right?
Correct. Yes.
So when people break up with us, after you can get past the sadness and turn to your friends and cry, you want to then say to yourself, thank goodness, right? Because the last thing you want to do is lose years of your life with somebody then they break up with you. And there's people who have dated people or have maybe commingled with people for 10 years, 20 years, and then they get broken up with. You see what I'm saying? So for those that let you go sooner, embrace that. Say thank you, and then move on. Now, on the same token, you want to love people back because, again, you're trying to find that right fit as well. So just because somebody may not be the right match for you, you can still love them as a friend. You can still say to them, you know what? And I know men hate to hear this. I love your personality, but you know, but still, but honestly, but whenever you break up with someone, do tell them what are their positive qualities, and do tell them why, it wasn't a right fit, but it wasn't anything about them. See, just like how you feel when you're rejected, how painful that is, and you say that you don't want to cause pain on other people, you will not cause that pain by just being honest and being giving of helping them to move forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But what if they turn against you, like you're good friends, and then when they find out you don't really like them or don't want to be with them, they're like, okay, well, screw you. I don't want to be your friend anymore.
Well, then that's not a friend to have, right? Friends, lovers, dating, you name it. People will come in and out of our lives, but those people that are true, they will always stand beside you. So sometimes you just got to let people go. Just got to let them go. Let the haters go. Okay?
Yeah.
Just that easy. Smile. I love your smile. I love your giggle. All right.
Thank you.
Go out there and find someone to date. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for calling in. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye-bye. Life does not have to be so heavy, but when we do feel depressed, call our show, reach out to a friend. That's what it's all about. I want to thank everybody who listened today, and most importantly to our whole production team here. We have Mindy and Sam and Debbie and Rich and everybody behind the scenes that is committed to your growth. And again, if you were inspired by today's show, I want to make sure that you tell us, how were you inspired? How were you moved? Go ahead and connect with us at connect@livingfullout.com, or if you think you might be a good inspirational guest, again, let us know your story. We'd love to hear it. Or if you want to hear today's show again, go to livingfullout.com, click on our radio show tab. Everything will be there waiting for you. Again, thank you so much for listening. If you are feeling depressed, just know my heart's there with you. And give us a call at Living Full Out at 310-909-7800. Have a great day. Here's to you living your life full out.